Someone's at the door again. Hello, welcome to my channel, Stitches with Love. My name is Elizabeth, and this is my corner of the world where I share all about my knitting adventures. And this morning, I'm having a lovely cup of English breakfast tea. I wasn't really in the mood for coffee, which is a bit odd because I'm always in the mood for coffee. But this morning, I've got some tea vibes going on. It is 32 degrees outside. It is cold. It is icy, and I'm just not ready to set foot out there yet. The boys are occupied with Legos and a new drone, and so I'm gonna just let them be and see if I can do a quick knitting video. I just realized I forgot my microphone, so I'm gonna put that on so that you can hear me a little better, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's better. I've got my microphone back in now. I've got my tea. I think I'm ready to seize the day and share what I wanted to share this morning. A cup of hot tea or coffee or some sort of warm beverage on a frosty winter morning is such a lovely way to start the day. And speaking of starting, I'm not sure what I want to start with this morning. Okay. I have a new knitting bag. I'm very excited about this. This is a handmade vintage sewing bag. It has lots of room. It's in excellent condition. I love the fabric. This was made by one of my residents who gave it to one of our life enrichment people at work when she could no longer knit, because that group or this person from Life Enrichment, she does a charity group, and so they knit and crochet hats and sweaters and scarves and blankets for the memory care residents and for local charities. And so when the resident could no longer knit, she gave this bag with all kinds of lovely needles and things to the charity group. And I popped in yesterday while I was on my lunch break at work just to say hi to the ladies and see how things were going in the group that day. And I had simply commented that this is a beautiful vintage bag. And that was all I said. I had absolutely no expectations of anything. And so my friend in Life Enrichment said, "Would you like it? If you can find something to put the knitting needles in, you can have the bag." I thought that was really sweet. So I found another thing to put the knitting needles in, and I brought home this beautiful vintage bag. So I'm really excited. I don't know what I'm going to put in it yet. I'm thinking probably a sweater that I'm working on because it's really a bit too big for socks. The full-size adult sweater I'm working on right now is not going to fit in this, but I have a couple of small sweaters. And so I think I might use it for that. So that's my newest lovely secondhand treasure, is this beautiful hand-sewn vintage knitting bag. Very excited to start using it. And then the last few days, I guess really all week, I've been working on this particular project. This is my scrap blanket project. I'm keeping it in this giant bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. And I was having an issue with all of the yarn getting tangled up because when I finish a project, I just throw the scraps in here. I roll them up and I ignore them. But it was really tangled. So what I did to solve that issue is I went through and I color coded. Let me set this down actually. I color oh my goodness. I color coordinated all of the leftovers. So there's a bag for blues, a bag for reds, a bag for pinks, etc. And then when I'm ready to switch colors, I simply pick out whatever color I want and the rest stays in the bags and nothing is getting tangled and messed up and messy. And then I have made quite a lot of progress on this blanket. I'm using size 2s, US size 2s. They're really tiny, but they work great. And then just all of my leftover fingering weight sock yarn. This is what I have so far. It's really been quite a lot of fun to make. My boys have all helped me pick out colors to do next. So as I finish a square, I'm either picking a color or I give them a chance to pick. And I'm really pleased with the results so far. So most of these leftovers are from socks. There are a few non-sock items that I used yarn for, but each project has had something special that it has been worked up with. I don't really know how big I intend for this to be. I really don't think I want it to be so big that it can cover a bed. I'm thinking more like a throw size blanket. Just something that I can cuddle up in while I'm reading a book or while I knit or if I'm watching a movie with my family. I don't want it to be really huge and overwhelming, partly because that would take a lot of time and it would take a lot of yarn, and partly because I just don't think I want anything that big. This has not been a difficult project. Um, it does take time because the stitches and yarn are so small and needles that I'm using. And as with anything, I do this in the pockets of time I have. So I have taken it to work with me this week to work on. But again, I have work duties that come first. And so I'm not always able to just sit and knit. Um, and then at home, I've mostly been doing it in the evenings when I get home and I just need some time to sort of unwind and relax before bed. Um, Watching hockey with my family, I've been doing it then. Um, in the mornings, before I go to work, if I have time. There's really no deadline for this particular project, and I like it that way. It's a scrap project. It's using leftovers. I don't have anything. I don't feel the need to finish it so urgently as I want to get some of my other things done. It's meant to be a memory blanket. And so while I'm knitting up past memory projects, I'm looking forward to having scraps from future projects and memories that I make. So it'll get done when it gets done. And then I've been working pretty solidly on the same socks for a while, and I'm just kind of tired of looking at them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're almost done. I'm just kind of, I think, burned out on this one particular color. So I put them away. I didn't grab them to show you, but it's the Grinch green and red stripy socks. I'm doing them 2 at a time. And I've worked on them a lot, and I just kind of want a break. So I went through my other projects to see what I have that needs finishing. And I decided that I would work on these. I'm hoping I can work on these today. Hang on just a second. It's kind of tangled. I have not worked on these socks for quite some time, but I am done with the gussets and now I'm working just on the foot part. So these are for my wonderful husband, Alexander. And I really love how this yarn is working up. Um, I don't know when these are going to be done. I was thinking maybe Valentine's Day. They would make a lovely Valentine's gift for him. Or maybe not. I don't know. I just don't know when these are going to be done. Um, but I really want him to have another pair of hand knit socks. It's been a while since I've made him any. For a while, I was making him and my dad hand knit socks every year for Christmas. And that was so much fun. And then I don't really know what happened. I just kind of got out of the habit of doing it. And I really miss knitting them socks every year. So I'm going to try really hard to get back into the habit of knitting socks for them for Christmas, and maybe for birthdays, or just because I love you, just because I love to knit socks for them. So, as always, I shall wait and see how the day goes, wait and see what knitting actually gets done today. I'm having some car trouble, and so I'm going to stay home from church and just watch the online streaming. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'm taking it into the mechanic. So that'll throw off our routine a little bit. We're not usually home Sunday mornings, but that's okay. In an effort to not have an accident on the way in, I'm staying home. All righty. I think I'm going to stop here and go do a little bit of knitting, finish my tea, and make my boys some breakfast. We were all able to sleep in this morning. It was lovely. We did not get out of bed until 7 o'clock, which to me feels very much like I have slept half the day, because I'm usually up um, much earlier than that. But it was really nice to just be able to sleep and let our bodies rest before we got up to start the day. All right, I'm going to go figure out breakfast for everybody, and then get dressed and figure out what the day looks like. We have Michael's scout meeting this afternoon, and so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to use Alex's car to get down to the scout meeting and back again. It'll be a lot of fun, I think. All right, until next time, happy knitting, many blessings, and happy Sunday. Bye.